What happens when country music royalty sits down for what should be a friendly chat but instead walks into a verbal ambush that will leave viewers speechless? It only took 44 seconds of Jennifer Hudson's condescending questions for Reba McEntire to realize she was not dealing with a professional host, but someone with a personal agenda that would turn this interview into television chaos. The studio lights were bright and hot as Reba McEntire settled into the plush red chair across from Jennifer Hudson. The audience was buzzing with excitement, phones already recording, ready to capture what they thought would be another heartwarming celebrity conversation. They had no idea they were about to witness one of the most explosive talk show moments in recent memory. Jennifer Hudson leaned back in her chair with a smug smile that should have been Reba's first warning sign. Her eyes had that look, the kind you see right before someone drops a bomb they've been planning to detonate for weeks. "So Reba," Jennifer began, her voice dripping with fake sweetness, "let's talk about your little comeback attempt. I mean, at your age, don't you think it's time to step aside and let the real talent take over?" The audience gasped. This was not the warm welcome they expected. Reba's eyebrows shot up, but she maintained her composure like the seasoned professional she was. "Well, Jennifer, I wouldn't call 40-plus years in the music industry a little anything. I've been blessed to have fans who still want to hear what I have to say." Jennifer laughed, but it wasn't a friendly laugh. It was the kind of laugh that cuts through you like a knife. Blessed? That's one way to put it. I mean, when was your last real hit? And I'm talking about something people actually remember, not just your die-hard fans singing along to oldies. The camera operators were frantically switching angles, sensing that something big was building. The audience was getting uncomfortable, shifting in their seats. This was supposed to be a feel-good interview about Reba's upcoming tour, not a roast session. Reba took a deep breath, her Oklahoma charm still intact despite the clear attack. "Jennifer, I think there might be some confusion here. I came on your show to talk about my new music and my upcoming tour dates. My fans seem pretty excited about both." "Your fans?" Jennifer repeated with air quotes. "All 12 of them?" That's when you could see something shift in Reba's eyes. The politeness was still there, but there was steel underneath it now. "I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what this is about. Did I do something to offend you? Because this doesn't feel like an interview anymore." Jennifer leaned forward, her voice getting sharper. "You want to know what this is about? It's about respect. It's about knowing when your time is up. Country music doesn't need has-beens trying to stay relevant by copying what real artists are doing." The audience was dead silent now. You could hear a pin drop. Cameras were zooming in on Reba's face, catching every micro-expression as she processed what was happening. "Has been?" Reba repeated quietly, her voice steady, but you could hear the controlled anger building. "Jennifer, I've sold over 56 million albums worldwide. I've had 29 #1 hits. I've won Grammys, Country Music Awards, and I've been inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. What exactly makes me a has-been?" Jennifer rolled her eyes dramatically. Awards from 20 years ago don't make you relevant today. And honestly, watching you try to keep up with actual talented singers is just embarrassing. You're like that aunt at the family reunion who thinks she can still sing because people were polite to her once. The crowd started murmuring. This was getting brutal, and everyone could feel it. Reba's hands were folded calmly in her lap, but her knuckles were turning white. "I see. So in your opinion, experience and longevity in this business mean nothing?" "Experience?" Jennifer scoffed. "You mean singing the same 3-chord country songs for decades? Please. Some of us actually have range. Some of us can really sing, not just twang our way through simple melodies that any karaoke singer could handle." That was the moment. You could see it in Reba's face. The line had been crossed. The professional mask was still there, but barely. "Jennifer, I think we need to take a step back here. I came on your show as a guest, with respect for you and your platform. I'm not sure why you feel the need to tear me down, but this isn't professional." Jennifer was on a roll now, clearly enjoying herself. "Professional? You want to talk about professional? Then let's talk about how you've been riding the same wave for 40 years, while real artists are out here evolving, growing, actually contributing something new to music. Your whole career is just nostalgia at this point." The audience was getting restless. Some people were actually getting up to leave. This wasn't entertainment anymore. It was just mean. Reba's voice remained calm, but there was fire in her eyes now. "I think my fans might disagree with that assessment, and frankly, so would most people in the music industry who've worked with me. But I'm curious, Jennifer, what exactly have I done to deserve this level of disrespect?" "Disrespect?" Jennifer laughed again, that same cutting laugh. "This isn't disrespect. This is honesty. Someone needs to tell you that your time is over. Country music has moved on. Music has moved on. Maybe you should too. The silence that followed was deafening. Reba sat there for a moment, processing what had just been said to her on national television. The camera caught everything. The slight tightening around her eyes, the way her jaw set just a little bit firmer. Jennifer, I've been nothing but respectful to you since I sat down. I came here to promote my tour and talk about my music with someone I thought was a fellow professional, but you seem more interested in tearing me down than having an actual conversation. Jennifer waved her hand dismissively, like she was swatting away a fly. Look, I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Your whole country queen thing is getting old. People want fresh talent, new voices, not someone who's been recycling the same sound since the 80s. The audience was getting uncomfortable. Some people were actually booing now, not at Reba, but at Jennifer. They could see what was happening, and they didn't like it. The same sound? Reba's voice was still controlled, but you could hear the edge creeping in. Have you actually listened to my recent albums? Because I've worked with some of the most talented producers and writers in Nashville. I've collaborated with artists half my age who respect what I bring to the table. Oh, please, Jennifer interrupted. Those collaborations are just young artists being polite to a legend. They don't actually want to work with you. They have to because their labels tell them it's good for their image. That hit different. You could see it in Reba's face. Jennifer had just questioned not only her talent, but her relationships with other artists, people who had become like family to her. That's not true, and you know it. I've built genuine friendships and working relationships with artists across all genres. Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Blake Shelton. These aren't people who work with me out of obligation. Jennifer rolled her eyes so hard, it was almost cartoonish. Name dropping isn't going to save your career, Reba. And honestly, comparing yourself to Kelly Clarkson, that's rich. She's actually evolved as an artist. She's actually relevant. The mention of Kelly Clarkson seemed to strike a nerve with the audience. People were starting to get vocal, not in a good way. Security was starting to look alert. I'm not comparing myself to anyone, Reba said, her voice getting a little sharper now. I'm just pointing out that respect goes both ways in this industry, something you might want to remember. Jennifer's eyes flashed. She didn't like being called out, especially not on her own show. Excuse me? Are you trying to lecture me about respect? On my show? In my house? Your house? Reba repeated, raising an eyebrow. This is a television studio, Jennifer, and yes, I am talking about respect, because that's what professionals show each other. Professional? Jennifer's voice was getting louder now. You want to talk professional? Then let's talk about how you've been coasting on your reputation for years, while actual singers are out here working for everything they get. The audience was getting restless. People were starting to call out, telling Jennifer to stop, to show some respect. But she was too far gone now, too committed to this path to turn back. Coasting? Reba's composure was starting to crack, just a little bit, and the cameras caught every second of it. I've been touring for over 4 decades. I've performed over 4,000 shows. I work harder now than I did when I started because I love what I do and I love my fans. Your fans? Jennifer said with another one of those cutting laughs. Let's talk about your fans. Aren't they all like, 70 years old? Still living in the past with you? The audience gasped again. Even some of Jennifer's own crew members were looking uncomfortable now. You could see people in the background shaking their heads, clearly not approving of where this was going. Reba took a deep breath, her hands still folded in her lap, but her voice was getting firmer. My fans range from 8 to 80, Jennifer, and they're some of the most loyal, loving people I've ever met. They've supported me through everything, and I would never disrespect them the way you're disrespecting me right now. Oh, so now I'm disrespecting you? Jennifer leaned back in her chair with that smug look again. I thought we were just having an honest conversation about your career, or lack thereof. That was it. You could see the moment Reba made a decision. The politeness was still there, but something fundamental had shifted. She wasn't going to take this anymore. Jennifer, I think we're done here. This isn't an interview. It's an attack. And I don't have to sit here and listen to someone half my age tell me I don't belong in the industry I helped build. Jennifer's eyes went wide. No one had ever called her out like this on her own show. Half your age? Wow, bringing age into it now? That's classy, Reba. Real classy. You brought age into it the minute you suggested I was too old to be relevant. Reba shot back, her voice still controlled but with steel underneath it now. And for the record, I've earned every bit of respect I have in this industry. I didn't have it handed to me because I won a singing competition. The audience erupted. That was a direct shot at Jennifer's American Idol win, and everyone knew it. Jennifer's face went red. her carefully applied makeup not quite hiding the flush of anger and embarrassment. "How dare you?" Jennifer hissed, her voice dropping to an almost whisper that somehow felt more threatening than if she had screamed. "How dare you sit on my show and disrespect me like that?" Reba's eyebrows went up again, but this time there was no surprise in her expression, just pure determination. "Disrespect you? Jennifer, you've spent the last 10 minutes calling me a has-been, questioning my talent, insulting my fans, and suggesting I should retire. And now you want to talk about disrespect?" The cameras were going crazy now, switching between close-ups of both women's faces, catching every micro-expression, every flash of anger, every moment of this television train wreck. "That's different," Jennifer snapped, her professional composure completely gone now. "I'm the host. This is my show. I ask the tough questions." "Tough questions?" Reba laughed, and it wasn't her usual warm laugh. This one had bite to it. "Those weren't tough questions. Those were insults wrapped up in fake journalism. There's a difference." Jennifer was spiraling now, and everyone could see it. Her carefully crafted television persona was cracking like ice in spring. "You know what your problem is, Reba? You can't handle the truth. You can't handle that your time is over and someone like me is the future." "Someone like you?" Reba repeated, her voice getting quieter but somehow more powerful. "Someone who thinks being handed a platform means you get to tear down people who built the industry you're trying to be part of?" The audience was on their feet now, some clapping, some booing, everyone talking at once. The energy in the studio was electric and dangerous. "I built my career," Jennifer shot back, pointing a perfectly manicured finger at Reba. "I earned everything I have. I didn't just slide by on some country charm and simple songs." "Simple songs?" Reba's voice was steel now. "Jennifer, some of country music's greatest songs tell the deepest truths about life, love, loss, and hope. Just because you don't understand the artistry doesn't mean it isn't there." Jennifer was getting desperate now, flailing for something, anything to regain control of the situation. "Artistry? You want to talk about artistry? I've got a voice that can handle anything. Broadway, R&B, pop, gospel. What can you do besides twang your way through 3 chord progressions?" The crowd was getting louder, but Reba's voice cut through the noise like a knife through butter. "I can connect with people, Jennifer. I can make them feel seen, heard, and understood. I can tell their stories and make them matter. That's what real artistry is about. It's not about how many octaves you can hit. It's about how many hearts you can touch." Jennifer's face was getting redder by the second. She was losing this battle, and she knew it. "Hearts?" she spat. "Give me a break with the sentimental garbage. Music is about talent, period. And some of us have it and some of us don't." That was the final straw. Reba stood up slowly, with the dignity of someone who had nothing left to prove. "You're absolutely right, Jennifer. Some of us do have it, and some of us don't. The difference is, those of us who really have it don't need to tear others down to prove it." The audience went absolutely wild. People were cheering, clapping, some were even standing on their chairs. Jennifer looked around frantically, realizing she had completely lost control of her own show. "Sit back down," Jennifer demanded, her voice cracking slightly. "We're not done here." Reba looked down at her with something that might have been pity. "Yes, we are. I came here to be your guest, not your punching bag. And I certainly didn't come here to be disrespected by someone who clearly doesn't understand what professionalism means." Jennifer jumped up from her chair, her face flushed and her hands shaking slightly. "You can't just walk out on me. This is my show. I'm Jennifer Hudson." Reba paused, turned back to face her, and delivered the line that would be replayed 1,000,000 times on social media. "And I'm Reba McEntire. The difference is, I don't have to remind people who I am by tearing others down." The studio erupted into complete chaos. The audience was on their feet, some cheering for Reba, others booing Jennifer. Camera operators were scrambling to catch every angle. Production assistants were running around like chickens, with their heads cut off. Jennifer was standing there, mouth open, completely speechless, for maybe the first time in her life. She had pushed and pushed, thinking she could break down a country music legend, and instead she had revealed herself to be nothing more than a bully with a microphone. Reba gathered her purse with the same calm dignity she had maintained throughout the entire ordeal, nodded politely to the audience who were giving her a standing ovation, and walked toward the exit. "Where are you going?" Jennifer called after her, her voice desperate now. "We're live, you can't just leave." Reba turned back one last time, her voice carrying clearly over the chaos. "Watch me." And with that, the queen of country music walked off that stage with her head held high, leaving behind a host who had completely destroyed her own credibility in less than 15 minutes. The cameras kept rolling as Jennifer stood there, alone on her own set, finally understanding that respect isn't something you can demand, it's something you earn. The audience continued cheering as Reeba disappeared through the exit, and somewhere in that chaos, everyone realized they had just witnessed something special, not just a celebrity meltdown, but a masterclass in grace, under pressure from a true professional who refused to be diminished by someone else's insecurity.